This lesson is 8.6 on slope. So first we're going to do the two warm-up problems. For this first problem, we are going to look at this table and determine if it is proportional, if there is a proportional linear relationship. My time is going to represent my x, and my distance is going to represent my y. I am going to just plug in a couple of points using y over x and see if that ratio is consistent. So I'm going to start with this first row. So my y is 100 and my x is 2. Well, 100 over 2 is 50. Then I'm going to try my second one where my y is 300, my x is 5. 300 divided by 5 is 60. These are not the same, which means they're not constant, so they are not proportional. Number 2 says, does the equation represent a proportional relationship? Explain your answer. Well, the answer is automatically a no because there's this plus 5. Proportional relationships need to be written as y equals kx. So if this was just y equals 4x, then it would be proportional. But since there's that plus 5, it is not proportional. There can be no addition and no subtraction within these equations. So some vocab. Slope is the ratio of a line's rise to its run. So the vertical change and the horizontal change. There's 3 different ways we can find slope. We can find slope using rise over run. We can find slope using this formula, y2 minus y1 equals x2 minus x1. And we can also do difference in y over difference in x, which is what we've been doing. We've just been calling it change over y over change in x, which really it's the same thing. Slope is the constant of proportionality and describes the steepness of a line. So there are several different types of slopes. We could have a positive slope. A positive slope goes up to the right, and this would be a really good thing to have in your notes. A negative slope goes down to the right. Zero slope is when there's a horizontal line. So an example of that would be 0 over 5. If we have 0 on the top, it's going to be a 0 slope horizontal line. Then we have an undefined slope, which is a vertical line. That's when we have a 0 on the bottom because you can't divide by 0, which means that it's undefined, right? If we would type 4 divided by 0 into our calculator, it would either say undefined or error. So those are our 4 different types of slope: positive, negative, 0, and undefined. So this example says a ladder is leaning on a house. Its base is 6 feet from the house, and it is resting on the house at a height of 22 feet. We are going to find its slope. So all we're going to do here is, I'm just going to write in so I know that this is 6 feet because it's 6 feet from the house. And I know that up here is 22 feet. So I just need to find the slope, and I can do that by rise over run. So my rise, which means from the bottom to where that point is going to be 22 feet, because we know that height is 22 feet. And then my run is how far we go to the right or the left, which is going to be 6 feet. And it's a negative 6 feet because we're going to the left. If we were going to the right, it would be a positive. So I'm going to use rise over run. So we have 22 feet. Over negative 6 feet. This is going to simplify then to negative 11 thirds. Our slope is not written with labels, so really we didn't even need to include them here. So our slope is negative 11 over 3. It's a negative slope because the line is going down to the right. Okay, this one is finding slope from a graph. So tell if the slope of a line is positive, negative, 0, or undefined, then find the slope. So looking at number 2, it is a straight line, which means it's vertical, so it is undefined. Okay, the slope is undefined. Our rise, if we were to count, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and our run is 0. So 4 over 0, it's an undefined slope. Number 3, we have a line going in a positive direction, so this is going to be a positive slope. We are going to use rise over run to figure out this slope. So I am going to actually ignore those dark arrows, and since this is positive, I'm going to first go upwards. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our rise is 6, and our run is 1, 2, 2. We're going up, so it's positive. We're going to the right, that's positive as well. 6 divided by 2 is 3, so our slope for this line is 3. Number 4, well, we have a line that's going downward, so this is going to be a negative slope. And then I am going to actually use for this one, I'm going to use that formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have 2 coordinates here. I'm going to label this as x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have 2 coordinates, and then I'm just going to plug in the information. So y2 is negative 2, and then I have minus y1 is 4, x2 is 2, x1 is negative 3. So all I did was I plugged in those values into my equation. And now I'm going to solve. I'm going to add up, so I get negative 6 over, and these turn into plus signs, so we have 5. So my slope for this line is negative 6 over 5. So slope of a line passing through the points x1, y1, x2, y2 is the ratio of the difference in y coordinates to the x coordinates. So like we just used, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And what that could tell you, so let's say we have a graph, and we have a slope. We're going to start at 0, 0, and our slope is 2/3. What that tells me, so this is again rise over run, is that to find my next point, I need to go up 2 over 3. So drawing some lines here. And then for my next point, I need to go up 2 over 3. And I would keep continuing, and that would tell me how to graph my line. So again, slope is rise over run. Finding slope from ordered pairs. So we are going to find the slope of each of these lines. We are going to use that formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what I like to do first, you don't have to, but I like to label these. So I'm going to do x1, y1, x2, y2. And then I'm just going to plug them in. So y2 is 14 minus y1 is 6. x2 is 21 minus 9, which is x1. Sorry, x2 and y2. Nope. Sorry, I take it back. x2 minus x1. 14 minus 6 is 8. 21 minus 9 is going to be 12. 8/12 then simplifies. We can divide both by 4. And I'm left with 2/3. So my slope of that line is 2/3. For the next one, I'm just going to plug in these values to the equation. Again, I like to label them. You don't have to, but it helps keep things organized. So my y2 is 4. My y2 is 4. My y1 is 4. My x2 is negative 8. And my x1 is negative 6. And then we're just going to solve. 4 minus 4 is 0. 8, and then these turn into pluses. So negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. Since we have a 0 on the top, that means it's going to be a horizontal line, so a 0 slope.